Hi everyone, welcome back to the series. We're getting quite close to the end of this game now, and based on the last tutorial we can see that it's coming along quite nicely. In the last tutorial we added audio and sound effects and some makeshift music, which I think really adds to this game. Now in this video we're going to be adding in a shop menu. Now it's going to be a very simple shop menu. We're only going to be able to buy two things, and that is we're going to be able to buy an increase to our max health, and we're going to be able to buy an increase to our fire rate. Now I've got a list of 4 or 5 things that I have changed in my scripts since the last video. Nothing major, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what those are. So first of all, in my save object, I took my max health down to 1 and I increased my fire rate up to 1 as well. Secondly, in ship stats, I just made sure I hid all of my fields inside the inspector because we're not going to be editing them in the inspector anymore. We're going to base all of our values on saving and loading. Speaking of saving and loading, in the save and load class, where I load my state, if we don't already have an existing save, I've gone ahead and put an else statement in just to call the save, just so we have a file. And while we're in here with our saves, in Save Manager I realised that in my save progress I never actually called save state, so I added that line in there as well. Make sure you do that. And finally, inside my menu manager, I realised whenever I was starting a new game, so when I was opening the in-game menu, I never actually set my health bar to its correct value. So I added these 3 lines in. I'm just basically getting the player like we have done before, setting the current health to the max health, and then updating the UI bar to be current health. So again, I'm sorry about any of those. If you came across any issues that you realised before I did, I hope they've actually rectified it for you. So if we pop over into Unity, you'll see that I've already gone ahead and created the UI for our shop. I didn't think I'd need to create this on screen, as one of the previous tutorials was actually all about creating UI. I thought that was a bit of overkill. So I'll just give you a quick walkthrough of what we have here. We have a header, our upgrades, and we have a local display of what our current gold is. We also have a button that closes the menu and subsequently reopens the main menu. We have a descriptive bit of text just telling you what buying this will do. We have the header. We have the value, which is going to be what our current health is and what it'll be after the upgrade. We have the button to buy that health upgrade, and we have the cost of that upgrade, and exactly the same again for our fire rate. Nothing spectacular, nothing's been set up yet, so we'll start by opening up our shop script. So this is probably going to be quite a large script again, so I'll try and make it as painless as possible. First of all, we're going to add in our namespaces that we're going to need. So we're going to need to be using TextMesh Pro, and we're also going to need to be using UnityEngine.ui. And just to save a little bit of time, I've already written out my variables, because there are quite a few, but I will go through them all with you. There we go. So as you can see, I have 2 audio clips, one for a sound effect when the sale fails, one for when it's successful. I have some TextMesh Pro elements, that's for my current gold text in the top corner, the health values and the fire rate values, also the health and fire rate cost. I have a reference to both buttons, to buy health and to buy an upgrade to fire rate. And I've also got a set of private variables. Now these 2 are going to be a local reference to our max health and our fire rate. These 2 are going to be the cost for the next upgrade to health and fire rate. And down here, the reason we've got these is I want to be able to have all the prices automatically calculated for me. So both my health and my fire rate have a base cost of 10 and 5, and then each of those has a multiplier, which again is 5. So that'll make a little bit more sense when we actually start to do our calculations. And there is one that I am missing here, and that will be a reference to our player, so we can actually gain access to those ship stats variables. We'll start by getting rid of update, and we'll start by filling in our start method. So the first thing we're going to want to do, we're going to get a reference to our player, and just like we've done before, we'll use find object with tag, and we'll find our player. And then we need to get the component player from that game object. Now that we've got that reference, we can set our current max health equal to the player dot shipstats dot max health. Exactly the same with the current fire rate. We'll set that equal to player dot shipstats dot fire rate. And we want to make sure we initialize our gold value, so that will be current gold dot text equal to, and remember we have it in our inventory dot current coins, and we'll just append a G onto that so we know it's for gold. And the eagle-eyed viewers amongst you will realise that I have a naming convention mismatch. I'm calling it gold here and I'm calling it coins there. That's not advisable. Don't do it. It's not best practice. So next, we want a way to update our shop's UI and also calculate our totals, our next health cost and fire rate cost. So we can do that in one method. So we'll create a private void and we'll call this update UI and totals. So like I said, this will take care of all our UI updates and calculations. So we'll start by calculating our max health. So as you'll remember, our actual maximum health will be 5. We only have 5 spaces inside of our UI health bar. So we want to make sure we can't go over that. So we'll check if our current max health is less than 5, then we're available to buy the next upgrade. So the way that we'll do that, we'll calculate next health cost is equal to our current max health times by the max health base cost times max health multiplier. And that'll just increase our health cost exponentially every time we buy the next one. So we want to update the rest of our UI. So we'll need our health values dot text, and we'll set that equal to our current max health plus, and we'll use the equals and greater than symbol to create an arrow, and then we'll append onto the end of that our current max health plus 1. Now we'll need to make sure that we put this calculation in brackets, or else it's going to be treated as a string and it's going to come out as 1 arrow 11. I didn't realise that until I tested this. And we'll also want health cost dot text to be equal to our next health cost, and we'll append a G on that as well. Finally, we want to make sure that our button for buying this health upgrade is actually interactable. So we'll set our health button dot interactable equal to true. But what about if we've already got maximum health? Well, we just need to make sure that the player knows that there's no more upgrades. So we'll set health cost dot text equal to max. Health values dot text. We'll make sure that it's showing our current max health. So we'll just put that out to string. And finally, we want to make sure that our health button is not interactable, so we'll set that to false. So now we shouldn't be able to click our purchase button on our health if our health is already at 5. So what about our fire rate? Well, the fire rate's going to be slightly different, as in the lower it is, the better, whereas max health, the higher it was, the better. So we'll have to calculate this in a slightly different way. We still want a, this time, minimum value, and I want that to be 0.2. So that'll be every 0.2 of a second you can fire at your fastest. So we'll check if current fire rate is greater than 0.2, then we can buy the next upgrade. So we'll just reinitialize our next fire rate cost to 0, so we don't overwrite any previously, so we do overwrite any previously calculated values. And this time we're going to use a for statement. And we'll just change this up a bit. We'll have a float f, which is going to be starting at 1. We're going to want to make sure that f is greater than 0.2f, a max value. And if it's not, we're going to iterate f by minus equals 0.1. So what this is going to do, this is going to loop round from 1, taking away 0.1 from that value up until it reaches 0.2. So every time we loop through this, we want our next fire rate cost to be plus equals our fire rate base cost times a fire rate multiplier. And then when we actually reach our current fire rate, we want to break out of this for statement. So we'll check if f is less than or equal to our current fire rate, we'll just break out of that. So now that we have all that calculated, we can set our UI values. So we'll set fire rate values.text equal to our current fire rate to string, and we'll mask this because we always want it to look like 0.00 plus, and then we'll create our little arrow again, and plus one more time we'll have current fire rate minus 0.1f, and again we'll put that to string with our mask. Next up we have a fire rate cost dot text will be equal to our next fire rate cost, and we'll append that G on the end as well. And finally, set that fire rate button interactable to true. And just like before, if we're already at this time minimum fire rate value, we don't want you to be able to buy any more, so we'll set fire rate cost dot text equal to max, just like we did before. Fire rate values dot text we will set to 0.20 because that is a maximum or minimum, whichever way you want to look at it. And finally, set fire rate button dot interactable to false. And then we want to make sure that we're calling this in our start method after we've initialized everything. So now we have the main workhorse of our shop. We need to add in two more methods, and both of these are going to be attached to our buying buttons. So we're going to need one for buy health, don't know where packages came from then, and one more for buy fire rate. And we'll create, just for ease, one utility method right down at the bottom here. So that's going to be a private bool price check, and price check is going to take in an integer value which is going to be the cost of the item that we want to check. So really simple, all we're going to do is check if our inventory dot current coins is greater than or equal to the cost that we've passed in. We'll return true, or else we'll return false. Wow, there we go. So now we can use this method up in our buy health and buy fire rate methods. So we can just start by checking if price check, and we'll pass in our next health cost. So if that returns true, we can afford to buy the next upgrade, so we'll give it to the player, or else we can't afford it. So if we can't afford it first, all we're going to do is call audio manager dot play sound effect, and we'll pass in a no sale sound effect. Simple as that, nothing else. But now if we can afford it, we want to buy it. So the first thing we're going to want to do, we're going to want to make sure that inventory dot current coins is minus equal to our next health cost, and then we'll refresh the on-screen gold value. So current gold dot text is equal to our inventory dot current coins, and we'll append a G on the end again. Next up, we want to get a player and amend the ship stats dot max health. So we're going to add 1 to that. That should be a plus, not an equals. So we'll add 1 to our player's max health. And then just to be on the safe side, we'll set our current max health, our local copy of that, equal to player.shipstats.max health, just to keep everything in line. Next, we want to make sure that we save, so we'll call savemanager.saveprogress, and once more update our UI and totals. And then finally we'll play our successful sail sound, so that's Audio Manager, play sound effect, sail. And by fire rate is going to be pretty much exactly the same, but this time it's going to need to check our next fire rate cost. We'll deduct next fire rate cost from our current total. Want to make sure that shipstats.fire rate is minus equals 0.1 and set current fire rate equal to the fire rate that we have stored. Again, we'll save, update, and play our sound effect. And one final thing we'll do before we test this is we'll add in a bit of a cheat menu so we don't actually have to play our game long enough to earn all this gold. So to do this, we're going to need to be using Unity Editor, because we're going to create a custom menu. So right down at the bottom, we can surround this in a platform dependent compilation statement, and we only want this to be relevant if we are inside the Unity Editor. And we'll cap that end if off there. So inside here, we're just going to create a private static void, which we're going to call add gold cheat. And inside here, all we want to do is call inventory.current coins, and we'll add 1,000. And to make this a menu, if you've already seen my attributes tutorial, you'll know this. We're going to call menu item and give this menu the name cheats, and this actual cheat add gold. So we'll go in and we'll set this script up inside of our shop. So first thing, we'll drag and drop our shop script onto our shop menu. And then we'll go down and we'll populate all of these variables, starting with shop error, shop purchase, our gold value, our health values, our fire rate value, our health cost, our fire rate cost, and then the references to our health button and our fire rate button. So if we save this and launch our game, nothing's going to happen because I've messed something up. We need to go to our in-game UI, not our in-game, what am I talking about? Our main menu UI. We'll just close off the shop for now. And we want to link this button, our shop button, to our shop. So we'll add an on-click event, drag in our main menu and access, it's our main canvas we drag in, and access our menu manager and call open shop. So we can close off our main menu again, reopen the shop, and we want to make sure that the close button here closes the shop. So again, that's going to be main canvas, in, menu manager, close shop. And finally we're going to attach our shop menu over here, and we're going to select by health, and on the fire rate button we'll add that on click event, shop menu, shop by fire rate. And if we play our game, we'll see we open up our shop, we have 0 gold, we're at level 1 or health 1. This will take us to max health 2. We're currently at a 1 second fire rate, and this will take us down to a 0.9. This will cost us 50 gold. This will cost us 25. So if we play the game, we can see we have 1 health like we've been told, and a very slow fire rate. So let's go back to the main menu. We'll use our cheats menu up here and add 1,000 gold. open up our shop. This may not actually refresh the UI just yet, but we can see now when we do it, it will. So now we're on 3 max health, and we can up that to about halfway. So if we close that and play our game, we see we have 3 and a slightly faster fire rate. One thing I have realised, I don't reset my lives in between games, so we will just go ahead and fix that. And that'll be in here where I didn't reset the current health. We'll just set player.shipData, ship stats, current lives equals player.shipstats.max lives. And that should fix that problem there. And because we've saved, if we actually restart this game and open the shop up, we can see our values have actually persisted, and this time we've still got 600 goals after we cheated. So let's max ourselves out. Oops. We better add some more gold. And now we can see that we've got max and max, we've got 5 health and a 0.2 fire rate, and we can no longer click on our buttons. So we start this, we see we have max health, and this is the fastest. This is the fastest we're going to be able to shoot. And there we have it. A nice and quick, simple shop menu. So like I said, we're rolling on very close to the end here. In the next episode, we're going to be taking a look at integrating Unity ads into our project. So make sure you watch that tutorial if you want to monetize this game. So I'll see you over there.